while he has been pretty consistent overall, his placements in FNCS and other tournaments like that, nobody expected what he did throughout the qualifiers. Nobody expected a second place on day 3, into a first place on day 4, into a first place in the heat yesterday.
The most surprising performance by far, absolutely, and the most impressive in style. XP's always puts himself into positions where he can show his flair, show his aim, and give us a good insight to what shots he likes to take. All these shots always culminate to a win. Just look how fast he is past edits, landing the bullets that he needs to land to be able to get eliminations and then win games close range, 4 people back to back, and he did this in multiple games.
And that's not all. While XWeeze might have dominated his heat, there's still one more. To find the last 25 players, we had to go through one of the most difficult ones overall. There was players like Mongrel in the next heat. There was players like Reason, and those two have been going back-to-back against each other for quite some time, starting from the day 1 3 weeks ago. But Reason showed up again, and even though they dueled and took first and second in this heat, Reason seemed to come out far and ahead, the champion of that heat, and for one reason, I think, no pun intended, the Holly Hedges uncontested drop spot.
Yeah, with no one fighting you down early game, you have a huge advantage on playing the rest of your game out, going for positions, going for wins. That being said, though, Reason and Mongrel are going to be able to battle it out once again here today in these grand finals, and it's the final round for these guys to wrap up their story.
And the important thing to note from Reason, he did win back-to-back in heat number 4 yesterday against players like Letwick, who had even Kit Shockwave Launcher to try to put him down. He does not care and will go for the biggest streak of 2 back-to-back games in terms of eliminations and wins. So that total amount of points, ridiculous from Reason. We'll have to see if he's in form today.
That's the biggest question across the board, right? Who is in form? A lot of these players, they already know the field. They've already scouted each other out, and just like we've done our research, they have too. Now the question is, who will hold strong and who will walk away the champion? With that being said, guys, it is time to get into the first game of the day here in EU. So let's get ready to toss it over to our casters. We've got Clay Staling and Sundown to take us through all the action. Gentlemen, over to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Jonesies, Bonesies, he's, she's, theys, and them. The analyst desk set it up so well. Shout outs to Zeke, Bala, and Showager. But now we're into match number 1. This is it. 6 games to decide who will walk away with that Axe of Champions. Who will be the top player in arguably the most competitive region in Fortnite. It does have the most participants, and there's 800. Some of those early game drop spots, both in heats, and I'm assuming now in the grand finals. Everyone stays really far away from him. Another player. That's because he's done such a good job over the course of the entirety of this tournament to stake out the claim, and then also getting a nice little elite chest right there.
He wasn't taking a chance looting that chest. He didn't want anything to go wrong in game number 1, because that sets the pace of your games going forward. Whether you get out to a head start or Loadout not as great as what we just saw on Rezon, but someone that also did very well in the qualifier.
Set up that ambush on the side. We've talked about it time and time again, how you need to be careful, but in the early game in particular, now you have to sit back and watch everyone else have fun while you're sitting there waiting for the next game. As now we hop on board, and Candy, who's going to be in the exact same situation as Milan, turns that one around. And someone who's really been
like almost every single qualifier, so it's really good to see consistency being rewarded, especially with the way the format is. The format rewards those high-placing, high-consistent games. So if you're able to get to top 15, game, you're going to start to make your way to the top of the leaderboard.
And that's what the goal is for the He didn't have a shotgun. That's what we talk about. Those early game fights, he just had the assault rifle and the SMG, opting to stick with the AR, and I think that might have been the
continue to push down. Shots go through. He's going to break through the wall, and Wolfie's is going to go down.
That was a huge pickup there from Maestro Wolfies, who was the second place finisher in the duos of the World Cup. We've seen him play so aggressively, the young player from Don't forget, in arena and tournament settings, there is that siphoned enabled. That means when you eliminate an opponent, game now, as we're on board here with a Ventex, who takes two really big shots and is put on the back foot.
An aggressive push into the box and needs to catch him off guard. If Ventex is not able to get this med kit off, this does not look well for them. But it seems like the med kit will be popped, so he does get back to fighting HP. Under 15 HP is enough to withstand some shots. As Krez is now on the back foot, that's exactly what he needed to do. He needed to turn that defense that he was waiting on into that offensive moment. And now Krez is in a very bad situation. 6 builds remaining, no HP to really work with. He's going to have to hit a really big 6 builds remaining. No HP to really work with. He's going to have to hit a really big 6 builds remaining. No HP to really work with. He's going to have to hit a really big 6 builds remaining. No HP to really work with. He's going to have to hit a really big charge shot there. Dana coming through, not going to connect on these shots. He goes to the box, but Krezis hits the shot, and that's another elimination for him.
And you talked about it. He needed to hit that big charge shot, holding it up and punishing the player. And particularly when you see two players box to box fighting with charged shotguns, it's really difficult if you're not able to get that finishing blow right away, like No Luck Nebby does there, finding Kira to close out the fight, because you can have.
Oh, Nebby, what?
Don't even forget my point there. Nebby showing the power of the hunting rifle, showing up, catching 2 players on the outside. However, look in the bottom right-hand corner. A 3rd player is now rotating by. So can Nebby get all of these resources and get out without getting engaged on? But those are 2 monstrous shots. He's got to feel confident there, and definitely not living up to his name. Plenty of luck going on.
And you took the words from my mouth. Nebby with an amazing aim there, just getting what he needed to get started. However, someone who is not having amazing luck is Janus right now. 134 effective HP. It means he fought either off spawn on rotation. Now he is going into the orchard, which does allow these campfires and the apples that drop that give you 5 HP per consume. So he's going to be in a good spot. He's able to really farm up. But Janus drops Steamy stacks. And look at his metal count. It was only 97. A man of Steamy with only 97 metal is not what he's used to. And this is definitely impacting his game plan.
Yeah, and it's going to be tough there. Also, tons of players will know where he is, stoking that campfire, putting off the smoke signal. You can see him, those apples dropping, but instead opting to burn the extra wood. Good trade-off there and good awareness of where he was on the map. However, you do see Spen is lurking and trying to catch out the FNCS Invitational winner here. Janus over on the side, and he does. He gets him real quick. That's the problem. Again, we talk about it, the hunting rifle on the side. If you're not ready for it, it can be a game ender right there. You get caught out farming. And honestly, I think that's a little bit on Janus there. You don't want to be on the edge of the zone and caught gaining materials. Like, yes, you did just get in. You can feel safe. You're back up at that 100 health, 100 shield threshold. But you have to know other players are rotating from that side and going to be behind you. And Spen is actually going to get harassed there as he tries to rotate out. We're going to hop on over to a 3-way fight going on over here.
Oh, and now already down to just 2 players. Controller getting into the boxes and getting the shots, picking up 2 eliminations back to back. Flecken gonna fall there, and these are what you need to do in solos. You need to get into the box and you need to finish the eliminations quickly, because like we saw, if you come and you fight and you box fight and you build fight, and more people are gonna come and they're gonna realize that, and you are going to fall. So very good play there from Controller.
And so far, it's been the story of the third party. You hear players talk about it all the time, whether it's your friend or your favorite streamer. That third party is the extra player who comes in. So if you're taking a 1v1 and then somebody else rotating by says, oh, you guys are preoccupied. First, we saw Nebby picking up the 2 shots there, and then Controller closing it out with that epic tactical shotgun. Going to be on board here with Ovation Orion. We've seen him pull off a number of plays, but again, really good at kind of those ambush-style tactics, as you can see here, trying to set up a little bit on this player who's rotating in front of him. You can see the map in the bottom right-hand corner. That is the next storm zone revealed, so you can see we're pulling a little bit central. We're just kind of south of the authority, or just over the authority, with a little bit of a southwestern side there. So most of the players will have time. The Slurpy Swamp players will have tons of priority, and Storm Surge has just turned on, which is something you might not be familiar with if you're watching there. So Storm Surge is actually on in every game, but is only activated when you're above a certain number of players left. That number of players for the third zone is 70. So with 83 players currently left, 13 will be impacted. What it does is those who haven't done enough damage to the opposing players will then take 25 damage every 10 seconds. It's to try and encourage a little bit of active play, which we see here from Orion taking out Queasy, who's going to be queasy about that, just being game-ended right there before the rotation occurs, not picking up any points in that match.
And what a smart play. He went in different angles and didn't just crash right off the top, because he knew Queasy would have been expecting that, and found an angle, got in the box, got the elimination. That also, with Storm Surge, it causes people to make plays like that. Arion may have decided that, you know what, a couple tags were good, I'm good to go, move on. He's put him pretty high up in the Storm Surge, but he didn't want to take the chance. He wanted to make sure he was above at least 100 damage on the threshold. So he decided, I got to go in, I got to get in the box, because when Storm Surge starts hitting you, nobody's going to let you shoot them. No one's going to let you even look at them. They're going to be sitting in their boxes. They're going to sit there and wait and not even open windows, not even make any movements, because they know, hey, that guy's getting hit by a big purple lightning bolt. We can't attack him. Well, all of a sudden Phoenix is actually going in, but maybe a little bit of a misplay, he gets eliminated.
Gets punished right away, and Tigwe has everything you could possibly want for a box fight there. I mean, just look at the loadout, having the epic tactical shotgun, the epic burst AR, crash pads, plenty of shields. So Phoenix might have felt a little pressure to go in and create some space, but T-Way punishing very succinctly there as now we swing on board. Milan, Seventor, Kiko, and Anas all directly on top of each other. They become legends. Anas has played incredibly well. Clement also joining in on the party, and this is what we talk about, that storm surge. All the players who below, Anas being one of them, are going to be forced to find tags. That damage is going to start coming through. He's going to need to convert on it, and he converts brilliantly there, picking up Supremacy's Clement in number 1 elimination, and also closing in on that first placement threshold, Clay.
It was such a beautiful play by Anas because he knew Clement had that bush. He said, you know what, he's going to go for the pickaxe. I'm just going to go ahead and edit that wall out so he can get the initial shot, and that got him the elimination. That initial shot there gave him the damage just to follow up with another tack shot. And with that rare tactical shotgun, it does a lot of damage if you're able to hit all the pellets, and that's exactly what he did. Now, on his way, he got the pepper placement threshold, just came through as well, and now he's moving in. He's got a very great loadout to secure himself a very good placement here. And we know Anas is very, very capable, like you talked about. And he's already stalking another player. He's looking to take down AX Controller.
Yeah, and that's Controller 007 from the FNCS Invitational. We saw him have a number of really solid performances. Still need 3 players to go down from that Storm Surge special, but Anas just trying to kind of follow in this rotation path, get as close to center of zone. So if you're kind of new to watching competitive Fortnite, joining for the first time in Party Royale or Twitch or YouTube or Twitter or watchfortnite.com, what do you care about as you're watching this game as Anas will take it down, or what are you looking for? Mongrel and Thomas HD also picking up eliminations to put us below the Storm Surge threshold. The first thing is whether or not opponents are people are picking up eliminations. You can see that to the right of the player's name that's right next to kind of the little mark there. And that will represent 1 point every single time as they go through. Additionally, you're worried about them picking up placement points. In this format, the first one occurs after 25 players have gone down, then the next one occurs after 50 players have gone down, then it's every 10 and 5 players. So when somebody ends up falling in 41st or 31st or 20th, top 25 in 78% of his games this FNCS, best in the EU, and that's something to contrast with the fact that he also plays really aggressive in the early and the mid game. If he gets caught out and he's able to convert, he's had some of the highest elimination totals.
Now, the biggest impact of the game right now
inside the current safe zone. After that, the 5th one will be the half in, half out, which kind of signals the transition into the end game as Thomas helps end Sebi's game there. He's going to be sent back and have to queue up after that, and Thomas hits him with a favorite emote. Hey, if you got that emote and you're in that action kind of being driven as players are forced to rotate. It's about being safe here. Establishing so important. This zone till start. Storm Surge turns
go for a top 25 anymore. No one has to go for top 50. Everyone here is focused on that win, and they're just slightly behind. Still, though,
Knots. It shifts a little bit in grand finals. People start to make decisions and play with the mind a little bit of each other to, force things that you might not be comfortable with.
A lot of that is going to dictate that drop spot, right? And how that could, we're talking about 100 of the very best in the world. If I'm going somewhere and my peer is going somewhere that I'm used to playing with and against, that is going to dictate.
game of endurance, of holding it and not faltering when things go bad.
And in the grand finals, we have seen tournament after tournament. Being uncontested increases your chances of winning tournaments by tenfold, if not more than that. So being uncontested means you have nobody landing with you. You might be familiar with landing in a hot spot. You don't want to be doing that in grand finals or in set lobbies at all.
Yeah, the opposite of that is contested when someone is there. And Mr. Savage and Noah Riley are side by side at the yacht on the northern side of the map.
You're like standing on the other side of the wall. What the hell are you doing? Over here. Yeah, dude. What the hell?